who are non-envious, who can understand. What do they do? Yeah, take suggestions how we can improve. That is there. Yeah, but this competition is something slightly different. How do, huh? Yeah, I heard only half of it. What you said, what the half I heard is definitely true. But what I mean is, out of Vaishnava humility, they actually treat each other as more experienced, right? Yes. They don't see each other, or they don't see themselves as equal. No. And they push, that's the competition. And that's exactly the mood in the spiritual world. It is described that the gopis receive more bliss pushing the others towards Krishna, helping them to make the most pleasing arrangements there for the Lord. Not pushing themselves towards Krishna, but pushing the others. That gives them more bliss than being there with Krishna directly. So that's the mood in the spiritual world, because Prabhupada explains very nicely in the Bhagavatam, you know, that in the spiritual world there is no tinge for sense gratification, and therefore there's no envy, you know. Yes, completely free of envy. So if we want to go there one day, we have to cultivate that mood of pushing each other forward and not ourselves. So now we can imagine when our Guru Maharaj is coming here to Ravet, you know, do we have that mood that we want to push the others forward and make them noticed, you know, or do we want to be noticed? Yeah, so, well, we may discover that we have quite a long way to go to actually become non-envious and really fit there into the world, to the atmosphere of Goloka Vrindavan. Yes. Yes. So, and not only do they push each other forward, but they also have this very intimate sharing and inquiry from each other, inquiring about each other's secrets. You know? That maybe one person says to the other, "Oh Prabhu, you've been a brahmachari for 35 years, distributing every day Prabhupada's books. What's your secret? How do you do it?" And then the other one says, "And Prabhu, you've been married for 35 years, and you're still in the fire of devotional life. What's your secret? How do you do it?" Right? So they inquire very intimately about each other's, you know, secrets in their spiritual development. And that intimate inquiry can only happen on the level of equals, actually. Right? Towards juniors, you can't inquire like that. Towards seniors, well, we have to be a little careful not to stick our nose there in senior people's private life. So yeah, but equals, that's where we can share very confidentially, you know. And that's what makes this friendship very special and sweet. But the price to pay is that we are not envious, you know. Yes, that's the price to pay. So now let me ask, which of the three relationships is most purifying? Towards seniors, towards equals, towards juniors? Yeah, towards equals. That's, that's where the most pinching and biting envy from the most hidden corners of the heart come to the surface, right? Yes, yes. Yeah. When we associate with juniors, not so difficult to surround ourselves with juniors and say, yes, I'm their humble servant, no problem. And when we are associating with seniors, with the top level of seniority, also not so difficult, because we can always hope that some of their glory splashes over to us. Look, it's almost always me next to Guru Maharaj. In every picture, it's me there next to him. So he is the most glorious, and I'm the next glorious one there next to him, I'm coming right after him. Yes, I have heard this, that one devotee was once saying to me, oh, my Guru Maharaj, he listens to me. He follows my advice there in medical things. He listens to me. Oh my God. This is really the wrong mentality, yes. But yeah, that's how we can become more glorious if we're right next to him there, yes. But equal, there we have to show our true heart, whether we are humble servant or whether we want to establish that we are better, yeah, most challenging. I probably, do I understand correctly, most of you are Radha Swami's disciple? Yes, you may know, probably better than me, that he has this formula of association, right? That's what I heard. 100% out of 100% of association, how much should be equals? 60, yeah. I'm just checking whether I have the right formula here, because so 60% should be with equals. And how much with seniors? 20%. That's also what I have on my paper here. And topmost, 20%. But 60% with equals. Wow. So while we are young devotees, this may be very natural in the brahmachari ashram or in the voice base there or whatever. But then as we become a little more mature and senior, we may hardly have any equal association. And we may even avoid it subconsciously. We feel a little uncomfortable, Yeah, so to share our influence with somebody equally influential, this is a challenge, because we are afraid, maybe this other person will be more influential, people will like him more, and then I'm pushed aside, I'm becoming a nobody, and so we don't like that, And just to illustrate the difficulty of equal association, we may have that experience. Is Radha Swami coming here sometimes? No? No. He's too busy with other places. But when our Guru Maharaj comes, two expert cooks cooking lunch for Guru can be intense. If it's one expert, one helper, no problem. But two experts in the kitchen, oh my God. And then very easily the competition comes in. Who knows better what Guru Maharaj likes? No, don't you know, he changed his diet. No, he told me he likes like this. And. Oh, I've seen it. People steal each other's pots and steal each other's boga, and definitely not share recipes that only I know how to cook Guru Maharaj's favorite sweet. I'm not going to tell you, these things are going on, yes. Or once I witnessed a situation where one person was cooking something to be offered to Guru, and then the lady in charge said, "No need to serve this. He cannot have it. Not good for him. I know. Take it out. No need to serve." Whew, what is this? Why not show him? He may want to try one little spoon, or simply glances over it like Krishna accepts the offering. But no need to serve. Take it out. Bad for him. He can't have it. Yeah, so, and again, the contaminated intelligence cannot justify it. I know Guru Maharaj is tired and he should not eat this. So I'm just protecting him, Yeah. Yes. So this eco-association actually is the root cause for most conflicts, Inside ISKCON, outside ISKCON, yes. The eco-association is the challenge, And we have nice stories in the Bhagavatam when Prithu Maharaj wants to do the 100th horse sacrifice, right? While Indra had 100, Prithu Maharaj 99, no problem. But as soon as Prithu Maharaj wanted to do the 100th, Indra became envious. What did he do? He stole the horse, like stealing the pots and the boga, so the yagya can't go on. And the stealing was going back and forth there, Yes. And interesting to read, there's one purport in that story where it says both Prithu Maharaj and Indra got affected by anger and envy. And I was a little puzzled reading this, thinking, wow, Prithu Maharaj, Shaktavesha Avatar, and he's getting affected by envy? Well, momentarily, maybe for the Leela to go on, but still that's how contagious envy is, If we closely associate with an envious person, it can also ignite our envy, But then as soon as Lord Brahma appeared on the scene and pacified him, you don't need the 100-horse sacrifice, 99 is good enough, you're already perfect devotee. So that immediately established him in his non-envious mood, Yeah. Or then we also have the story where Lord Brahma wants to visit the Lord in Vaikuntha. And then the doorkeepers ask, "Oh, who are you?" And Lord Brahma gets all irritated. "What do you mean, who am I? I'm Lord Brahma, don't you know?" So, and then the Lord calls all the Lord Brahmas to come. He gave him a bit of eco-association. And there were so many who had more heads than he, 10, 100,000, Okay, our Lord Brahma became a bit humble, So these are nice examples of the importance of eco-association, Yes. Yeah, and I mean, around my travels around the world, I so often witness this. I mean, I have no clue what's happening here in Ravet, but practically in all communities, there's always some tension, amongst some personalities with similar influence, Yeah, that's the toughest thing to share, Yes. All right, so we have a little bit of time for questions, since it is a practical topic, as usual. So what questions do we have? Is there anything which we should discuss a little further? Do we have a mic? Just now coming.
Hare Krishna Mataji. My question is how to handle envious seniors without being envious?
How to handle envious seniors
Yes, and
without being envious?
Yes, Mataji.
Well, first of all, we have to be very careful in judging seniors. You know? Yeah, the question sounds already how do we know that they are envious? It's not our position to judge seniors. They may be envious, but yeah, we shouldn't even label them like that, you know? Yes. Because maybe we are projecting our envy onto the others, you know? Yeah. But let us put it that way, you know, if there is some shortcomings in seniors, some unhealthy behavior or something, because we should not say, oh yeah, my senior's chastising me all the time, he must be envious, you know. We should not go there. So, but if we find ourselves in a situation where we see that seniors have some issues, we simply take it as an opportunity to become tolerant. Yeah. And there is 3 nice things to consider. I once asked Niranjana Swami what to do when I see some shortcomings in very senior persons, because I felt I should not see this, you know. I'm like the fly going for the stooly things. I should only see the nice things, you know. So I asked him, and he gave me 3 nice principles. He was saying, first of all, don't suppress it, meaning understand that even very senior persons have some issues. They're not 100% pure devotees, you know. And he said, we are all in the wash. We all have some purification to do there in our hearts, some work, you know. So don't think, oh, you should not see this and. No, don't suppress it. It's there. That's step number 1. Then second one is, don't dwell on it. Dwelling means constantly contemplating. So if we constantly contemplate other people's senior shortcomings, and we always think, oh, he's got that fault, and am I the only one who sees it, and he shouldn't get all that attention and respect. So then it means we have a problem, you know? So we should not dwell on it. It's between him and Krishna, it's none of our business. We've got enough to do in our hearts, you know? So don't suppress it, don't dwell it. Third one, don't broadcast it. Don't tell everybody else, you know? Let's say one person, a young devotee, says, oh, this Prabhu, I find him really inspiring, he is a pure devotee. So, and we may know him better, and we may know actually he's got a few issues too, so we should not say that to that person. thinking, oh, I have to protect that person, or you may think he's a pure devotee, but I actually know so many other things about him. We should not say that. As long as a person is inspiring somebody to follow the process of Krishna consciousness, he is doing his part, you know. And as we become more mature and purified, then we may realize, oh, actually, he is not as pure as I always thought he was, and we may move on to somebody else and take inspiration from him, you know. But we should not undermine other devotees' faith in a person, even if we know something about that person which he doesn't know or something, you know. So yeah, if we, you know, serve under a person who's also got his issues, oh well, you know, he's in the wash. You know, Prabhupada was always saying ISKCON temple is like a hospital, you know. So we are all here to get cured, and we should not accuse each other here of our diseases or something, you know, and criticize or reject each other. But no, we have to be compassionate towards each other and help each other. And as a junior, it's not our position to point anything out to a senior or something. But also if there's something very alarming taking place in the senior level, it is our duty to report it to their superior, to their counselor, to their authority, you know. That is our duty. And then let them deal with it. Then we've done our bit, and let them deal with it. You know, like that. What else? Oh, there's now a few hands going up. Okay, let's start there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for such an enlightening class. My question is, most of the devotees here are like office bearers, like they go to office and their job works. Can you give some practical advice how we can come safely without, you know, getting affected the envy from them, or we also not be envious with them, the office people like seniors, friendly peoples and the juniors?
Yeah, well, Prabhupada was saying, inject the blood with KC drug. Inject the blood with KC, Krishna conscious drug. So basically, it means we need good sadhana. That's the injection we take every morning, you know? Chanting as many good rounds as possible before we go to the office, read a few verses before we go to the office, and it's a whole lifestyle, you know? So, and that gives us a little bit of immunity. Of course, not complete, but I mean, book distribution marathon is coming up, so anybody who's been out on the street distributing books knows if we chant good rounds, you know, then we don't get so affected what's happening out there. But if we don't chant good rounds, well, we get thrown, you know, this way, that way, by the waves of the modes of nature, you know. Yes. So, but if we chant good rounds, then this just runs off our back there, you know, and it doesn't affect us. So same thing as there in the office, you know. But also during pandemic, we learned social distancing, right? Social distancing. So we have to keep a little bit of a distance to non-devotees, you know, that we interact with them in a pleasant way to make them favorable towards Krishna consciousness. That's the main and foremost reason why we associate, to make others favorable. But otherwise, we should not closely associate, we should not take pleasure in their activities and talks and interests. We should protect our heart a little bit and just do the needful like that, But ultimately, we need a lot of spiritual strength not to be affected, And then when we come home, well, good to end again the day with some spiritual activities, And hopefully our home has a good spiritual energy, We have a nice wife there who creates that spiritual energy and cooks a nice dinner for us and all that. So, and then that also helps to let go, of that contamination. Come to the temple, take darshan, and, end the day on a spiritual note again, Yeah. And I mean, see, if we get all envious there, then, of other people's successes or something, so then that is also a problem in our heart, Like, which canto is it? I think 7:12, Idea of Family Life, right? 7th canto, 12th chapter. There's so many powerful verses about family life. They are all in the book Family Life as an Ashram Secrets of Success. There's a whole chapter on these topics, Yeah, that actually we should be satisfied with whatever is required to keep body and soul together. That should be the mood of a Grihastha, But we are all over-endeavoring, over-collecting. We want all fleshy lifestyle. And especially in India, that whole ambitiousness and, material development, economic development, the focus is pretty strong on the career and. But actually, Prabhupada, it says in the Shastra, a serious devotee, Prabhupada so nicely says it. He says, a serious devotee invents some way of earning his livelihood. He invents something. He comes up with some idea how to earn enough to keep body and soul together. That actually should be the mood of a family man, and not this whole ambitiousness and, So then of course we get envious at work if other people are more successful. But if we can be satisfied, whatever is necessary to keep body and soul together, we are just doing our duty, then we will not get so affected by that. All right, let them have all their money and big success and I have Krishna, I don't need that. I have Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, I don't need all this economic development. I'm happy with whatever is satisfied. I'm satisfied with whatever is necessary to keep body and soul together. And that's not very much what we need to keep body and soul together, right? Very little, actually. And Prabhupada, in that purport also, he talks about the unnecessary necessities we have. Prabhupada's word combination, very unique, That's one reason why everybody should learn enough English to read Prabhupada's books in English. Because Prabhupada's English is very special. And you lose that when you translate. I never read the Bhagavatam in German. It sounds completely weird to me. For me, it's not Prabhupada. Yes. Yes, because often you can't capture Prabhupada's mood. Yes. Every time you translate, you lose. It's like with changing money. Every time you change money, you lose. right? So the same thing is there with translation, you know. So the unnecessary necessities, that's what we are running after, the unnecessary necessities. There's a whole chapter in the book Grihastha Life, you know. Yes. Question from the ladies' side. Maybe you can get me the book side. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Mike.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam Mataji. Very nice and informative class. Actually, I want to ask that sometimes we know that our false ego has made a problem, and our envy is making a problem. Or sometimes after committing some argument, especially at equal level or at home, then we realize that it is my false ego or it is envy, and again same thing happens.
Exactly.
So, we realize that time that I should not do this, and then again same thing happens. So how to, we have to cultivate, but then what is the process of cultivation?
Well, there are 5 steps, and they are mentioned in this book. Actually, the topic of envy is in this book, Sheltering Relationships. There is the whole discussion on envy, and also the culture of correcting others, culture of respect, and it's in the Vodziga book. So I'm thinking, should I tell you? Well, if you want to know the 5 steps, you have to get the book.
Okay.
Or shall I quickly tell them? Kindly do what? Get you to buy the book? That is really kindly. Okay, all right. So, step number 1 is always hearing. We have to hear about the topic. That's why I like to discuss these subtle topics, because very often we are not even conscious of them. So hearing is always step number 1. Then comes desiring. So hopefully after this session, we realize, oh my God, I have to do something about it. I have all this envious behavior in my heart there. I have to, pull it out. So desiring is step number 2. Then step number 3 is being introspective and honest. Always reflecting. Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? What just took place in this exchange? Why do I have this ugly feeling in the heart? So this constant introspection and reflection, this is really important. If we don't reflect and introspect, we actually cannot make advancement, because the contaminated intelligence can always justify why we are right, everybody else is wrong. So we have to do this internal work. And especially at this step number 3, this is where we need the help of a counselor. Because we by ourselves, we may not even be able to identify the problem. Because Vodziga blocks our ears, blocks our intelligence, we can't see, we can't hear, So we need that well-wishing friend who has no other interest except my spiritual growth. And who taps us on our shoulder and says, hey, just cool down, you're overdoing it, and just relax, and. So then after introspection and reflection in honesty, step number 4 is we catch ourselves doing the wrong thing. That we realize, again I had to make that little comment, again I had to put that person down, and. So we catch ourselves doing the wrong thing, and that is already progress, because so many times before we didn't catch ourselves doing the wrong thing, but now we realize. So now my question to you, what is step number 5? After catching ourselves doing the wrong thing?
Ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, all right, no harm. But, as you said yourself, shortly after we do it again.
Correct.
We go again through 1, 2, 3, 4.
Get alarmed early.
Praying. We have to call out to Lord Nrsingadev. He is the expert heart surgeon with his sharp nails. Yeah, because I like to see Hiranyakashipu as the embodiment of false ego and envy. And we all have a little bit of a Hiranyakashipu there in our hearts. So only Nrsingadev can do the job. Yeah. Because for so many lifetimes we have been carrying with us this false ego. That's the root cause, the false ego. So we have to call out to him. Lord Nrsingadev prepares our heart to approach Radha Krishna. Yeah. That's why in Mayapur, when we have Darshan Aarti, we first greet Lord Nrsingadev. Then we go over to Panchatattva. We get their mercy. And only then we go to Radha Madhav. So there's a reason behind it. It's not coincidence or something, or because it's more practical there in the temple room or something. But no, first we need Lord Nrsingadev's mercy to make our heart a suitable place for bhakti. But our problem is that we think this envy and false ego also gives us some juicy fruits to enjoy. Right? Yes. And that's why we are not so seriously begging him to get rid of this envy and false ego. That's why we say, that one you can pull out, but not that one. No, not now. I will hang on to it a little longer, and people hopefully will not even notice that I'm so envious. And then Lord Nrsingadev says, okay, if you want to keep it for a little longer. So now, if we do these last 3 steps of being introspective and honest, catching ourselves doing the wrong thing, crying out to Lord Nrsingadev, introspection and honesty, catching ourselves doing the wrong thing, crying out to Lord Nrsingadev, then sooner or later we come to step number 6. And that is, we catch ourselves doing the right thing. Some daily little situation comes our way and we realize, this time I could just let it go by. I didn't have to make my nasty comment. I could just, let it go. And then we realize, actually, this works. But it is constant internal work we have to do. To always introspect, catch ourselves crying out. Yeah. And if we do that, if we are willing to do that internal work, that's when we make progress. To make progress in Krishna consciousness is not an external thing. It's not a matter of, first initiation, second initiation, now I'm in a position, now I have 55,000 followers on Facebook. No. It's all about working internally and uprooting these false ego patterns of behaviors. I think my time is up for my voice here, and you also want to have breakfast. But quickly, just in case there's somebody who still hasn't seen these books, hoping that I'm not getting on your nerves with them. Here she comes again with her books. Spiritual Culture, Krishna's Divine System. This is all about women. We women have this powerful energy. A woman can bring the very best out of a man, or she can ruin his life. That's the power of a woman. So every woman who wants to have harmonious relationships with men in her life should read this. And every man who wants to get the empowerment of the woman should also read it. And every man, even if he doesn't have a wife on his side and doesn't even want to have a wife on his side, he should also read this book, because this book gives you some deeper understanding how this man-woman equality puts the whole human society upside down. It's quite mind-blowing. Yeah. And I don't think so many people talk about this because it's such a controversial topic. Yes. Yeah, some people don't even like what I'm preaching, but anyway, that's their problem, because it's all based on Prabhupada. I mean, Prabhupada says it all. How much faith do we have in Prabhupada? Sometimes I'm wondering. This year I had this realization that if we have unflinching faith in Prabhupada, there are no controversial topics in ISKCON, actually. Yeah. And things become only controversial if we are lacking in faith in Prabhupada. Yeah. Because Prabhupada says many heavy things, especially about women. We have to understand them more deeply. This book touches upon all the controversial topics about women. Women being guru, women leading kirtan, women giving class, women doing this, that. I'm trying to give a balanced presentation on it. And we have to know these things for preaching, you know. And Prabhupada's statements are sometimes very strong. But if we lack faith in Prabhupada, then it becomes controversial. But if we have faith in Prabhupada, we will say, okay, Prabhupada says, he must have a good reason. I cannot understand it at this point. Let me park it. And maybe later on, after I get a bit more purification, maybe then I can understand it. So then there are no controversial topics. But unfortunately, we're lacking the humility to say this, and we lack faith in Prabhupada severely. It's sometimes a little alarming to me, you know, what I hear, especially in the Western world, you know. Some people say Prabhupada created a movement which is misogynistic. Do you know what misogynistic is? How do you say? Inimical towards women. That a movement that doesn't like women. I mean, how offensive is that? My God. You know, to say such a thing? Shocking. Yeah. So that is because of lack of faith in Prabhupada. Then we come up with such statements, you know. But I mean, I don't want to make the West all bad. There's also a lot of good things happening. But yeah, so anyway, that's this book. So then, sheltering relationships, today's topic is from this book. It's all about the importance of having a mentor. And I discussed this topic, a counselor, as you used to call it. I discussed this topic in this book because if we are envious, we cannot give shelter and we cannot accept shelter, right? Envy is what blocks us the most. from reaching out and affectionately uplifting others, truly wanting them to be more glorious than we are, or to actually take shelter without criticizing, finding faults in seniors, and. So if we are envious, then our shelter giving and accepting is very shallow and external. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things there. Then false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. So these 5 steps I explained there in this book, there in that book. As we said, false ego is the root cause of envy. And next time I come, we can do a whole 3-session seminar in the evening on false ego. There's so many interesting things, or different Vaishnava etiquette we should follow in order to subdue the ego, and how to recognize it, identify it. And there's a whole chapter on chanting the holy name. By the way, Monday evening, tomorrow, 6:30 to 8:30 in the Prasadam Hall, we have a whole session on deepening our relationship with the holy name. Yes, some little secrets of chanting. Yeah. So, and it's also included in this book. And then we have entering the Grihastha ashram this afternoon, right? 4 to 6, also Prasadam room. We have a session on how to choose a compatible spouse. So this is what this book is all about. It's a handbook for matchmaking. There's a whole list of over 200 topics which both should discuss with a cool head and. So that topic is tonight. Then family life is an ashram, secrets of success. So these questions you asked, there's so much in this book, all centered around how to really create this culture of bhakti in our home, the unnecessary necessities, what it means, simple living. That was Prabhupada's formula, simple living, high thinking. This is often tough for us. We don't want to live simple, let's be honest. We like a more flashy and fancy lifestyle, just as fancy as everybody out there, Yes. So there's a lot of interesting things in this book, how the husband should treat the wife, how she should treat him, and there's a whole section on physical intimacy in marriage, how to live this principle of no illicit sex life. There's also so much confusion on that. And I saw some amazing statements from Prabhupada, which many people don't know. And it sheds a whole different perspective to the topic. And last but not least, Vanaprastha ashram, meeting death with joy. Yesterday morning we had a session, a little session on that. In the book is so much more about this topic of death, And Vanaprastha, I call it the forgotten ashram. Nobody even thinks about it, plans for it. Nobody has a clear idea how it should be lived, even though it's all in the Bhagavatam. There's so many clear statements in the Bhagavatam, but still people don't realize, That's why I'm trying to make Prabhupada's teachings practically accessible to people, to make them understand how to actually apply the law books which Prabhupada gave us, So even good for young devotees and young in age, Vanaprastha. If we only start looking at the whole topic of Vanaprastha when we are 60, this is almost a little too late already. All right, better late than never. But yeah, we should plan for this when we are 30 or 35, Yes. As I mentioned yesterday, I think, once Radha Swami was saying at a wedding, at a Vivaha Yagya, to enter married life without a clear understanding how to move out, already failure. So, already when we get married, we should have a clear understanding that this is just a very temporary phase of around 20 years and then comes something else. Yes, there's heavy statements, that when when devotees stay in family life until the point of death, it's suicide. Yeah. And again, that gives family life a bad reputation because we are rotting in family life, because we're not moving on, you know? Yes. And then others think, I don't want to rot like that, you know? But no, if we have a clear understanding of Vanapasta Ashram, puts a whole different perspective to family life, then we know it's just a temporary thing, and afterwards we get back into the whole brahmachari mood, simple living, full absorbed, and. So it's just a little phase, you know? Yeah. All right, so if anybody wants some books, the last 4 books are 350 each. The first 2 are 300 each. Many people got the whole set, 2,000 rupees for the whole set. You can pay cash or with QR code. And now, as you see, there's only Bhagavatams there. I don't have actually any stock left. So anybody who wants some books, you have to put your name and phone number on the list. We tick which books you want. If you trust me, you pay me already now. And then in about 2 weeks or something, I'll send more boxes from Mayapur. And then everybody gets what they ordered. But I don't send any extra books. I only send what is paid for. So I don't think, okay, some more stock is coming, I'll think about it. Oh, well, then there will be no books for you, you know? Okay. All right, thank you so much. So tonight we have, or this afternoon we have a program, and tomorrow evening is the last program I'm giving. Tuesday is Radheshyam Prabhu coming, and Wednesday morning I'm leaving. Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhaktanda ki. Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So we are very deeply grateful to Mataji for her insightful lectures, and from the point of view of her expertise in devotee care and community building,
Yes.
these expert insights and her books would definitely help us, and these topics are to be known by everybody, and that synergy builds up in the community. So we are deeply grateful to have these impactful sessions, Mataji. Thank you very much. We'll have one Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
When you chant like that, it always makes me remember Radha Swami.